His hand brushed mine just for a second, but it felt like the world stopped spinning. I could still smell the faint trace of his cologne, the same one he used to wear when he whispered my name against my neck. 5 years. 5 years since we broke apart, and yet here we were again. Two ghosts of a love that refused to die. Maybe it was fate, or maybe it was my kid's crazy matchmaking channel. Either way, the moment Kai looked up at me from that cafe table, I knew I was in trouble again. Welcome to another heart-melting BL story on Cherryboyhearts BL. If you love steamy second chances, sweet chaos, and love that feels like coming home, hit subscribe, grab your favorite drink, and sit back as the story begins. Morning always started the same way for me, coffee first, then code. The smell of roasted beans filled the kitchen as the old machine hissed and groaned. My laptop sat open on the table, lines of code running like tiny ants across the screen. I liked order, quiet, and a cup that stayed warm for at least 10 minutes. Of course, none of that ever lasted long. "Dad!" A small voice called from the hallway. "Where's my other shoe?" I sighed, holding the mug close to my face. "Which one? You have like 8 pairs. The blue one with the lightning mark." That meant his favorite sneakers. Noah ran into the kitchen, hair sticking up, his pajama top half-buttoned. He looked like a tiny storm with energy too big for his body. I pointed under the table. "Check there. You kicked it off last night after dinner." He crawled under, then came out smiling, shoe in hand. "You're the best, Dad." "I know." I tried to sound serious, but he giggled anyway. Being a single dad wasn't easy, but moments like that made it feel simple again. Noah filled the apartment with a kind of joy I couldn't find anywhere else. Still, sometimes when the laughter faded, the silence after bedtime felt heavy. After dropping him at school, I spent the day working from home. My job was all numbers and logic, if this, then that. The code never argued, never left without saying goodbye. It obeyed. People didn't. At night, I cooked spaghetti, the only meal Noah said I didn't ruin. We ate on the couch, watching a silly cartoon. Halfway through, Noah turned to me with that sly grin that meant trouble. "Dad," he said, stretching the word like it carried a secret. "What's your type?" "My type." I frowned, twirling noodles on my fork. "Type of what?" "Type of person you like," he said. "Like, if you had to date someone again." I nearly choked on a noodle. "Where is this coming from?" He shrugged. "Kids at school say their parents are dating again. They say people use apps and websites and all kinds of cool things. I'm not one of those people. But if you were," he pushed, eyes bright, "what kind of person would you want?" I leaned back, pretending to think hard. "Someone who talks less, maybe?" "Hey!" He threw a napkin at me. "That's rude." I laughed. "Okay, fine. I'd want someone sarcastic. Someone who doesn't take life too seriously. Passionate. Maybe a little annoying too." He raised an eyebrow. "Annoying?" "Yeah," I said quietly, more to myself than to him. "The kind of annoying that stays with you even after they're gone." He looked at me curiously. "You miss someone, don't you?" I froze for a second. His voice was soft, too knowing for his age. "Finish your dinner," I muttered. When he went to bed later, I stayed up, scrolling through emails on my phone. Bills, work updates, one spam message promising to make me meet my destiny in 24 hours. The sender name made me pause. Heartcode AI. The logo was a little pixel heart. Below it read, "Find your perfect match using the power of data and emotion. Free trial available." I snorted. Yeah, right? But the apartment felt too quiet, and maybe the wine I'd opened was too strong. Out of boredom, I clicked the link. A chat box popped up. "Welcome to Heartcode AI. Tell us about yourself." I rolled my eyes but typed anyway. Name, Ethan Rivera. Age, 32. Occupation, software engineer. Next question, describe your ideal partner. I smirked. Sarcastic, passionate, and a little annoying. I hit send, still laughing. Within seconds, another message appeared. "Thank you. Our algorithm will analyze your data and send your perfect match soon." "Perfect," I muttered. shutting my laptop. That's what I need. Some robot to fix my love life. I turned off the lights, the glow of the screen fading into black. Across the hall, a different screen lit up. Noah sat on his bed, headphones on, whispering into his mic. The Heartcode AI dashboard shone bright on his little laptop. New client, he murmured, typing fast. Ethan Rivera, age 32. Emotional data pattern. Loyal, logical, afraid of loss. He smiled proudly. This was his secret world. While other kids played games, Noah ran his hidden YouTube channel Heartcode AI, where he matched lonely people using math, mood colors, and personality codes. Thousands watched his videos, but no one knew he was only 9. Tonight felt different. This wasn't just another client. This was Dad. He hesitated, then whispered, "Let's see who matches with him." He fed Ethan's answers into the algorithm. Lines of code blinked across the screen, comparing tone, emotion, and small clues Noah had learned to measure from years of watching people talk online. The program beeped. A profile floated up, a name glowing softly like a heartbeat. Kion. Noah tilted his head. Kai! The name sounded familiar, like something from a story half forgotten. He clicked the profile. Photos appeared. A man with sharp eyes, messy black hair, and a crooked smile that looked both proud and sad. He was a famous gamer with millions of fans. Noah's eyes widened. Wait, Dad used to mention that name long ago, back when things were different. Back when Dad laughed more. Noah's fingers trembled with excitement. So you're the one, he whispered. The missing piece of the data set. He adjusted the code and hit send. The program automatically generated a message for Ethan. Your match has been found. Then Noah closed his laptop quietly, a secret smile on his face. The next morning, I woke to the sound of rain hitting the windows. My phone buzzed beside the bed. Half asleep, I reached for it. There it was again, Heartcode AI. I almost deleted it, but curiosity tugged at me. The subject line said, "Congratulations, your perfect match has been found." I sat up, rubbing my eyes. The message continued. Based on your emotional patterns and preferences, your ideal partner is someone who understands your silence, challenges your logic, and once made you feel truly alive. That last line hit too close. My fingers tightened around the phone as I scrolled down to the photo attachment. When it loaded, my breath caught. It was him, Kion, the man I had loved once. The man I had lost because I was too proud to fight harder. My chest ached in that old familiar way, the one I thought I'd coded out of myself years ago. The email ended simply, "Would you like to reconnect?" I stared at the words for a long time. The screen glowed pale blue, and outside, thunder rolled softly through the sky. Part of me wanted to laugh at the ridiculous coincidence. Another part of me felt something else, something like heat and memory twisting together. I closed the laptop slowly, heartbeat uneven. Noah's going to think I lost it, I muttered, but my hands were still shaking. When I walked to the kitchen, the smell of pancakes drifted through the air. Noah stood on a stool, flipping one clumsily. "Morning, Dad. You look weird." "Bad dream." I forced a smile. "Something like that." He grinned. "Eat first. Then you can tell me what's wrong." "Maybe later," I said, sitting down. But the image wouldn't leave my head. Kai's smirk. Those eyes that always looked like they were daring me to live a little more. For the first time in a long while, my life didn't feel predictable anymore. It felt like something had been switched on again. Something I didn't know I still wanted. As Noah hummed and the rain tapped against the glass, I whispered under my breath, "Kion, why now?" That night, when Noah went to bed, I sat alone at my desk, the email open again. The words glowed softly in the dark. "Your match has been found." My breath caught. My chest tightened. There he was, frozen in pixels but alive in memory, smiling like he knew I'd see him again someday. And maybe, just maybe, he had been waiting for this moment too. I told myself I wasn't going. That morning I even said it out loud while brushing my teeth. Nope, not doing it. It's a scam. Or worse, an awkward date with someone who talks about cats for 3 hours. But by the time I was pulling on my gray jacket, My heart had already decided for me. Curiosity is a cruel thing. The email said, "Your match is waiting at Café Solace, 2 p.m. The word solace felt like a joke. There had never been any solace between me and Kai. Only noise, laughter, and heat that burned too bright. Noah noticed my jacket right away. "Where are you going, Dad? You never wear the jacket unless you're trying to look fancy." "I'm meeting someone," I said carefully. His eyes lit up like he just found treasure. "Oh, a date." "Not a date," I lied. "Just coffee." He grinned. "Sure. Have fun, Mr. Just Coffee." I grabbed my keys, pretending not to blush. Café Solace sat on the corner of the street, a small place filled with the smell of roasted beans and cinnamon. I paused at the door, heart thudding. I had no idea who I was supposed to meet, but part of me hoped, no, feared, it would be him. I pushed the door open. Bells jingled. Warm air brushed my face. And there he was, Kai, sitting by the window, legs crossed, hair a little longer than before. He looked up just then, and for a moment everything went quiet. The world shrank until it was only his eyes, dark, amused, and shining like he had known I would come. My knees went weak. "No way," I whispered. He smiled, slow and teasing. "Hello, stranger." I almost turned around. Instead, I forced myself to walk over. "This is a joke, right? You're part of the scam." "Scam?" He chuckled. "I should be offended. Sit down, Ethan." His voice hadn't changed, calm but edged with warmth. I sat, trying to hide how fast my heart beat. The waiter came, and I ordered black coffee before I could think. Kai raised a brow. "Still drinking that bitter stuff? I thought you switched to something sweeter." I shrugged. "Sweet things get tiring." "Funny," he said. "That's what you said about me before you left." I froze, cup halfway to my lips. "Wow, right to the heart." "Huh, just catching up," he said lightly, but his eyes softened after. "You look the same. Busy, tired, and late?" "Real," he said quietly. I missed that. For a while we just sat, the sound of milk steamers hissing between us. Every movement he made felt too familiar. The way he stirred his drink even before adding sugar. How he tapped the cup twice on the saucer. My fingers itched to reach out, to fix the strand of hair falling over his forehead. But I kept my hands flat on the table. "So," I said finally, "you signed up for some robot matchmaker too?" He smiled. "Not exactly. My manager said it might be fun for content. But then your name showed up." I stared. "Wait, you got the same email?" He nodded. "Looks like destiny has a weird sense of humor." I tried to laugh, but my chest felt tight. "Yeah, or maybe it's broken." We talked about little things after that. The weather, the games he still streamed, how Noah was growing too fast. Every topic danced around the truth sitting between us. Then Kai leaned back, eyes tracing my face. "You said you didn't want chaos." I swallowed. The memory hit like thunder. "You were the chaos." He smiled faintly. "And?" I looked at him, really looked. The sunlight hit his cheek, turning it gold. "And I liked it," I said. "More than I should have." Silence. Only the soft hum of music played through the cafe speakers. Kai's lips parted slightly, like he wanted to say something, but he looked down instead. "You just left, Ethan. No warning. One morning you were gone." "I had to," I said. "Everything was falling apart. You were chasing your dreams, and I was standing in the way." "You weren't," he said firmly. "You were the only reason I didn't lose myself." The way he said it hurt. I didn't know if it was pain or warmth blooming in my chest. Maybe both. I forced a small laugh. "You always were better with words. And you were better at running." That one landed harder than I expected. I looked away. Outside, rain had started again, soft drops sliding down the window. "I didn't know what else to do," I said quietly. He reached across the table, fingers brushing mine for just a second. "Maybe you could have stayed." My breath caught. The warmth of his touch was the same, steady, electric, impossible to ignore. We sat like that, eyes locked, everything we never said filling the space between us. Then Kai pulled his hand back and smiled that teasing smile again. Anyway, you still owe me a rematch. I beat your score last week. You still play that old game? Of course. Some things don't get boring. His eyes flicked to me again. Some things just wait. When the coffee was gone, we walked outside together. The air smelled like wet leaves. For a moment we stood I didn't sleep that night. The clock beside my bed glowed red. 2:14 a.m. The room was quiet except for the soft hum of my computer. I sat at my desk, staring at the open email on the screen. Your match has been found. The picture of Kai still stared back at me, his smile the same as I remembered, calm, teasing, and a little dangerous. My chest felt heavy. I wanted to laugh at the irony, but it only made me ache more. How could Noah? I pushed my hands through my hair and sighed. I knew I had to talk to him. He was my son, but he wasn't a little kid anymore. And yet, the fact that he was behind this whole thing, behind Heartcode AI, left me speechless. Morning came too fast. The smell of coffee filled the apartment, warm and sharp, just how I liked it. I walked into the kitchen and saw Noah sitting at the table, his hair messy, his eyes too calm for someone who had just caused a small emotional earthquake in my life. He looked up at me and smiled. Morning, Dad. Morning, I said flatly, pouring my coffee. We need to talk. He froze for a second, then gave a small nervous laugh. Oh, that kind of talk. Yes, that kind of talk, I said, sitting across from him. Heartcode AI. It's you, isn't it? He didn't even try to deny it. He sighed and lowered his head. Yeah, it's me. I stared at him, my fingers tightening around my coffee mug. You used my data, my information without asking? I just wanted to help, he said quickly, his voice soft. You've been alone for so long, Dad. You work all day, code all night, and pretend you're fine. But you're not. His words hit deeper than I expected. He looked up again, eyes glassy but strong. I thought if I used the algorithm I built, maybe it could find someone who makes you smile again. I didn't think it would actually find him. My throat tightened. Noah, you shouldn't have. I know, he interrupted gently. But I did. And maybe it was meant to happen. I wanted to be angry. I really did. But watching him speak with that quiet hope, the anger slowly melted away. All I could feel was guilt. Guilt that my own son had felt the need to fix my heart for me. I'm sorry, Dad, he said again, his voice small. I sighed and leaned back, rubbing my eyes. You shouldn't be the one saying sorry. He blinked in surprise. I'm the one who shut people out, I continued softly. I thought keeping things simple would keep us safe. But I guess I was just scared. We sat in silence for a while. The only sound was the faint ticking of the kitchen clock. Noah broke it first. So, are you going to see him again? I didn't answer right away. I didn't know if I could. But deep down, I already knew the truth. That night, I couldn't stop thinking about Kai. Every small thing reminded me of him. The sound of rain hitting the window, the soft light of my computer screen, even the smell of coffee. Memories came back like quiet waves. His laughter, his warmth, the way he always stole my mug just to tease me. I told myself to stop thinking about him, but my heart didn't listen. Around 8 p.m., I sat at my desk again, trying to focus on work. I opened a live stream tab by accident. Or maybe it wasn't an accident. Kai's face filled the screen. He was gaming live, headphones on, his voice smooth and calm. The chat was filled with people cheering for him, but his eyes looked far away, tired even. Then he paused, smiling a little as he leaned closer to the mic. You ever lose your favorite player? He said softly. And then try to pretend you're okay? My heart stopped. He chuckled quietly, shaking his head. Yeah, that's how it feels. Like you're still holding the controller, but the game's over. You just don't want to put it down yet. I swallowed hard, staring at him through the screen. My chest ached with every word. I didn't realize I was crying until I felt the tears slide down my cheek. There was a knock at the door. I blinked, confused. It was late. The rain had started to fall again outside, soft and steady. When I opened the door, my breath caught. Kai stood there, a small smile on his lips and a USB drive in his hand. His hair was damp, a few strands falling over his forehead. "Hey," he said quietly. "Noah left this at the cafe. Thought I should bring it over." For a moment I couldn't speak. The sound of the rain filled the silence between us. "Thanks," I finally said, taking the USB from him. Our fingers brushed, and it was like every wall I had built started to crack. He looked around, then back at me. "Can I come in? It's pouring." "Yeah, of course." He stepped inside, shaking off his jacket. The scent of rain and cologne lingered in the air, sharp, clean, and too familiar. I tried not to look at him too long, but it was impossible. He glanced at my desk, at the computer still open on his live stream. "So, you were watching?" I froze. Yeah, maybe." He smiled, his eyes glinting. "Still my biggest fan, huh?" I rolled my eyes, but my face was already warm. "Don't flatter yourself." He laughed softly, the sound low and gentle. "You haven't changed much." "Neither have you," I said quietly. "Still know how to show up when I least expect it." We stood there, the air between us growing thick. The rain outside grew louder, like it wanted to drown out everything but our breathing. Kai's voice dropped, softer now. "You still look at me like that." I frowned slightly. "Like what?" He took a small step closer. "Like you remember everything." My heart pounded. His eyes were dark and warm, pulling me in. I could smell the rain on his clothes, feel the heat radiating off his skin. I whispered, "Maybe I do." He didn't move for a moment, just watched me, like he was waiting for a signal I didn't know I had already given. Then, slowly, he lifted his hand and brushed his fingers against my jaw. The touch was gentle, almost shy. My breath caught. His thumb traced the corner of my mouth. "You always do this," he said softly. "You make it hard to leave." "I could say the same about you," I murmured. For a long second, we just stood there. The sound of the rain, the hum of my computer, the quiet between our hearts. It all mixed into something fragile and electric. Then he leaned in. The kiss was slow, soft, the kind that didn't ask for anything, it just remembered. His lips were warm, his hand steady against my face. The world outside faded, and all I could feel was him. The taste of coffee, the hint of rain, the ache of everything we hadn't said. When he pulled back, he rested his forehead against mine. "You still make my heart race," he whispered. I smiled faintly. "Guess some algorithms never change." He laughed quietly, his breath warm against my lips. "You and your coding jokes." "I can't help it," I said, my voice shaking a little. "It's my language." "Then I guess I'll learn it again," he said. We stood there for what felt like forever. Two people who had once broken apart, now standing in the same place, hearts still somehow connected. Outside, the rain softened. Inside, the silence felt safe again. And when he finally pulled away to leave, I caught his hand for a second, just long enough to feel it. That small, invisible promise that maybe, just maybe, this wasn't over. When the door closed behind him, I sank to the floor, heart still pounding. Maybe love wasn't something you could write, code, or predict. Maybe it was just something you remembered, something that refused to fade no matter how hard you tried. And as I stared at the small USB drive in my hand, I couldn't help but smile, because the algorithm had worked. Not because it was smart, but because it remembered what my heart never forgot. The smell of pancakes woke me up. At first, I thought I was dreaming. The air was warm, the sound of soft music floated through the hall, and the scent of butter and vanilla filled the apartment. I blinked, still half asleep, until I realized the sound wasn't from a dream. It was coming from the kitchen. I pushed myself up, the blanket falling off me. My head still felt heavy from everything that had happened, the talk, the rain, the kiss, especially the kiss. My lips still remembered it. I rubbed my eyes, grabbed a shirt from the chair, and stepped into the hallway. And there he was. Kai stood by the stove wearing one of my old shirts, the navy one that looked way too good on him. His hair was messy, a little damp from his earlier shower, and he hummed softly while flipping a pancake. The morning light made his skin glow like honey. He looked at home. My heart skipped a beat. "You're cooking in my kitchen again?" I asked, my voice rough from sleep. He turned, smiling that teasing smile that always made my chest feel strange. "Good morning to you too," he said. "And yes, someone had to make sure you and Noah eat something that isn't instant noodles." I walked closer, crossing my arms. "You're acting like you live here." He flipped another pancake, the sound of it sizzling in the pan. "Maybe I just missed the smell of your coffee." I tried not to smile, but it was hopeless. "You're impossible." "I know," he said, looking over his shoulder. His eyes softened when they met mine. "But you missed me anyway." The air between us grew quiet for a second. The words hung there, too real, too easy. Before I could reply, a sudden voice broke the moment. "Wait!" Noah stood at the doorway, hair wild, wearing his dinosaur pajamas. His eyes went wide as he looked between us. "Wait! You two are compatible again?" Kai laughed so hard he almost dropped the spatula. I groaned and rubbed my face. "Noah," I said, "it's not what you think." "Really?" he said, grinning. "Because it looks exactly what I think." Kai chuckled and held out a pancake like a peace offering. "Breakfast first, talk later?" Noah ran straight to the table. "You're so staying forever, Kai." I shook my head, trying not to smile too much. "You're encouraging him." Kai winked. "He's just being honest." Breakfast was chaos. The kind of warm, messy chaos I didn't know I missed. Noah told stories while eating, mostly about his school, his coding projects, and how he totally didn't mean to accidentally hack into my matchmaking email again. Kai listened, laughing at every small detail, flipping pancakes and pretending to be shocked. "You're a little genius," Kai said, ruffling Noah's hair. "I know," Noah said proudly, mouth full of syrup. "Takes after my dad. But I'm better." Kai laughed again, and I almost choked on my coffee. After breakfast, the three of us cleaned the kitchen together. Or rather, I cleaned while Noah and Kai had a butter war that ended with flour on the floor and both of them giggling like kids. It was loud. It was messy. It was perfect. I caught myself smiling as I watched them. Kai moved so naturally around Noah, helping him wash dishes, teasing him gently, laughing like he'd never left. And Noah, he looked happier than I'd seen him in a long time. When Kai caught me watching, he gave a small, knowing smile. I looked away too fast, pretending to dry a plate. The rest of the day passed in a blur of noise and light. We played video games, though Kai kept accidentally losing just to make Noah laugh. We took a walk to the park after lunch, and Noah rode ahead on his skateboard while Kai and I trailed behind. The sun was warm, the sky soft blue, and the air smelled like grass in summer. "It feels like old times," Kai said quietly beside me. I nodded. "Yeah, it does." We walked in silence for a bit, our hands brushing sometimes, not on purpose but not by accident either. When we got back home, Noah fell asleep on the couch halfway through a movie. I tucked a blanket over him, brushing his hair from his forehead. Then I turned, and Kai was standing by the window, looking out at the city lights. The air felt different again, heavier, but soft. I walked over slowly. "You okay?" He nodded, still watching the rain begin to fall again outside. "I was just thinking," he said, "about how I used to imagine this." "This?" He smiled faintly. "You, me, a home that doesn't feel lonely." I swallowed hard. "You left that behind once." His eyes turned to me, quiet and honest. "You left first, Ethan." The words hit deep. I opened my mouth, then closed it again. Finally, I said softly, "I left because I thought you wanted something bigger. The fame, the cameras. You were always chasing the next dream." He turned, stepping closer. "I only chased it because I lost you," he said, his voice breaking a little. "I thought if I worked harder, got better, became someone important, maybe I'd stop feeling like I wasn't enough for you." My heart twisted. "You were always enough, Kai. Then why did it feel like you didn't believe in me?" "I did," I whispered. "I just didn't believe in myself." The silence between us grew thick. His eyes softened, wet around the edges. Then he reached up, touching my cheek. His hand was warm, gentle, trembling slightly. "You still run away," he said quietly. "And you still make it hard not to come back," I replied. His breath caught, and then slowly he leaned in. The kiss wasn't rushed. Started soft like testing old memories. His lips brushed mine once, twice, before deepening, slow, lingering, full of everything we'd held back for years. His hands slid behind my neck, fingers threading through my hair. My pulse pounded, and the world seemed to fall away. I kissed him back, tasting rain, coffee, and something that felt like forgiveness. When we finally broke apart, our foreheads stayed pressed together. Our breaths came uneven, our hearts in sync again. "We were a glitch," I murmured. He smiled against my lips. "Then let's debug it together." I laughed softly, my voice low and unsteady. "You really never forget my language, huh?" "I could never forget you," he said, and kissed me again. Slower this time, like he wanted to memorize every heartbeat. Outside, the rain kept falling. Inside, time stood still. And for the first time in years, I felt like everything broken inside me was slowly being rewritten. Line by line, heartbeat by heartbeat. Later that night, after Kai had tucked Noah in and the lights were low, I sat beside him on the couch. Our shoulders touched. Our hands brushed. He turned to me, his voice barely above a whisper. "Ethan?" "Yeah." He smiled, small and shy. "You still make me feel like home." I smiled back, heart full. "Then maybe this time we don't run." He nodded, his fingers curling around mine. And as the night wrapped around us, I realized something simple. Love wasn't about perfection. It wasn't something you coded or calculated. It was just the quiet way someone still looked at you after everything. The morning started with noise. Not the bad kind, not alarms or breaking code or Noah shouting about burnt toast, but the good kind. Laughter. Kai's laughter. I followed the sound to the living room and froze at the doorway. Kai and Noah were sitting in front of the camera setup, the little microphone light blinking red. My son was grinning from ear to ear, while Kai leaned in close, holding a game controller and pretending to pout. "Noah, you can't just expose me like that on a live stream," Kai said, trying to look serious. "You already lost 3 times, Noah said proudly. "The fans need to know the truth." Kai gasped, pressing a hand to his chest. "I demand a rematch." Their chat box on the screen was exploding with comments. "The dad and the gamer are back. Noah is the real MVP. They look like a family again." I leaned against the doorframe, unable to stop smiling. It was still strange, seeing my quiet apartment turned into something so alive. Cameras, lights, sound, laughter. But it was ours. Kai caught me watching and grinned. "Hey, sleepyhead, come join us." "No way," I said, though my voice cracked from trying not to laugh. "You two are trouble." Noah spun around in his chair. "Dad, you're trending." "Trending?" I frowned. He pointed at the screen, and sure enough, there it was. A video titled "The Dad and the Gamer, Love Reconnected" had millions of views. The thumbnail showed a clip from Kai's earlier livestream, where he'd said, "Sometimes, losing your favorite player makes you realize they were the whole game." The caption underneath read, "The most wholesome comeback story ever. Heartcode AI really works." I blinked. "That's me?" Kai laughed and walked over, wrapping an arm around my shoulder. "You, me, and your little genius of a kid who apparently broke the internet." Noah raised his hand proudly. "You're welcome." I sighed, rubbing my face. "You know, I used to live a quiet life." Kai leaned closer, whispering near my ear. "You used to live a boring life." My cheeks burned. "You're never letting me rest, are you?" "Not when you look this flustered." Noah fake gagged. "Ew, adults in love." Kai laughed so hard I thought he'd fall over. I threw a pillow at both of them, but even I was laughing by the end of it. By afternoon, our living room looked like a production studio. Kai was editing a highlight video. Noah was designing a new logo for their shared channel, the family dataset. And me? I just sat on the couch, coffee in hand, watching them. It was strange how fast things felt normal again. Kai humming softly as he worked, Noah asking for advice on colors, the quiet comfort that filled the space. It wasn't the same as before. It was better. "Hey," Kai said suddenly, turning toward me. "I was thinking I should move back in, officially." I blinked. "I thought you already did." He laughed, brushing his hair back. "I guess I did, but I want to do it properly this time. No running away. No half steps." I stared at him, my chest feeling too full. "Are you sure? Fame, fans, chaos." He smiled softly. "You said once that I was chaos." I nodded slowly. "Yeah, and I liked it more than I should have." He leaned closer, his voice low. "Then maybe we're exactly where we're supposed to be." His hand brushed mine. My pulse jumped. The soft burn warmth between us came alive again. Quiet, gentle, full of memory and comfort. When he kissed me this time, it wasn't desperate or uncertain. It was home. Later that night, I found Noah in his room, sitting in front of his computer with a wide grin. "You look suspicious," I said. He turned, eyes sparkling. "Oh, nothing. Just finishing the last episode." "The last what?" He pressed enter and the upload bar filled. On screen, the title appeared, Project Family Dataset. Successful. I blinked. "Noah." The video started playing. It showed clips, me coding late at night, Kai cooking breakfast, Noah laughing. Little moments that looked so ordinary, yet felt so huge. Then Noah's voice filled the room. "When you code with love, the algorithm always finds its way home." My throat tightened. I looked down at him, but he only smiled, proud and gentle. "Why'd you do all this, kiddo?" I asked softly. He shrugged. "Because every system needs all its parts to work. You, me, Kai were better together." I couldn't stop myself from hugging him. "You're too smart for your own good." He giggled into my shirt. "I learned from the best." By the time I left his room, the apartment was quiet again. The faint sound of the city came through the window. I walked into the living room and stopped. Kai had fallen asleep on the couch, controller still in his hand, head tilted to the side, soft hair falling over his eyes. The TV screen showed the game paused on a warm, glowing background. For a while I just watched him, the rise and fall of his chest, the faint smile still on his lips. Then I looked toward Noah's door. I could hear his soft breathing through it. Something warm filled my chest. Not loud or sharp, but steady, deep, like a heartbeat that finally found its rhythm again. I whispered to the quiet room. "Turns out my kid didn't just run a matchmaking channel." My voice cracked with a laugh. "He ran a miracle." I turned off the lights, pulled the blanket over Kai, and stood there for a moment, just taking it all in. The glow from the TV flickered across the room, soft and golden, the kind of light that felt like peace. For the first time in years, I wasn't coding late into the night or worrying about what came next. I was home, my family data set, complete. And just like that, my world was complete. A son who believed in love, a man I never stopped loving, and a family that didn't need to be perfect, just real. Thank you for watching. My child runs a secret matchmaking channel and matched me with my ex. If this story made you smile, blush, or maybe tear up a little, please subscribe, leave a comment, and show your support so we can keep bringing you more BL stories that touch the heart and burn slow. See you in the next love story, only on Cherryboyhearts BL.